Hi, welcome to this Delta E podcast. I'm Jennifer Arran from Delta. I'm a principal analyst here, and I'm joined by my colleague Lukas, who heads up our heat pump research service.
Hello.
Today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about noise in relation to heat pumps, and in particular, why noise is or isn't a critical issue going forward as the market develops. So, firstly, Lukas, why is noise an important issue for heat pumps?
Well, noise is first and foremost an issue of perception. People can react very differently to noise in their environment, and in particular during nighttime, it is very often perceived as a problem. Heat pumps, obviously, in particular, air source heat pumps, do emit sound when they are operating, and this can be a nuisance if the heat pump hasn't been placed correctly, and if therefore the neighbor's premises get too much of that sound. So basically, in particular, going forward, we are looking at an increasing penetration of heat pumps in urban areas, which means that they will be coming closer and closer to the neighbor's premises, and the installation, the place of installation of the systems will change. So therefore, I think that noise can become quite a thorny issue for air source heat pump manufacturers.
And do you think that customers may then become resistant to heat pumps?
Yeah, there is, I think, quite some potential for bad press and bad reputation for air source heat pumps due to their perceived noisiness. It all comes down eventually to, on the one hand, how much or how high the sound level of a specific product is, but also, and maybe even more importantly so, how the heat pump and where the heat pump has been installed. Because a correct installation can avoid quite a lot of the issues around noise.
Okay. And are there markets where noise is already a bigger issue than others, or are all markets treating noise the same? Is there regulations around noise?
There are regulations in all markets with regards to noise, but the way they treat the topic is quite different. And there are definitely markets where noise is a much bigger problem than in others. If we look at, for instance, markets like Italy, southern France, Spain, etc., some of them have relatively strict regulations, but aren't really looking after them so much. And also, in particular, in the southern countries, people are much more used to the type of sound that is coming from an air source unit, because they're much more used to having air conditioning, which basically has a similar sound profile than a normal air source heat pump outdoor unit. In other countries, though, where this is not very common, let's say Germany, Austria, Switzerland, there are the three countries actually where noise is perceived as the biggest problem at the moment. And in particular, Austria has, in some states, very, very, very strict rules around the topic. So there is the state of Canton, for instance, where at nighttime you are only allowed to have a noise level or sound level of 25 decibels at your neighbor's premises. And this is actually just the boundary of your property. So it's not even their window or anything like that, like in other countries. It's the property boundary. And 25 decibels, that means that the allowed noise level is actually more than 4 times lower than our conversation just now.
So pretty quiet. Whistling leaves.
Very quiet, very quiet,
Yeah.
yes.
I know. I take it there's no heat pump products at the moment that can meet that regulation.
There are some on the market now which are dealing with this issue and which are trying to actively address noise as a barrier. We have one case in particular from an Austrian manufacturer where they have reduced noise levels significantly, and their maximum noise emissions is actually slightly lower than our conversation right now. So. I think their product would be able to meet these requirements, but even they would struggle and have to be very careful in terms of where they install it.
Okay. And what's the typical noise emitted by a heat pump?
Well, the typical noise, what we found that is emitted by a heat pump is around 60 decibels. That's about twice as loud as we're talking right now. So it basically comes close to screaming, I would say. And this is obviously when the system works at full load. If it works at reduced loads, it will be quieter. But yeah, this is the full load is eventually what the industry will have to deal with.
Okay. And what do we recommend from all our research that industry should do around noise?
Well, there's two ways to address this problem, really. On the one hand, I think it is quite important that industry does work at bringing the average noise of their products down, or the average sound level. On the other hand, I do see quite an important role for further education and information of installers as well. The placement of a product is really, really important with regards to the amount of noise that is arriving at the neighbors. So therefore, training programs, may they be from the manufacturers or official heat pump installer training schemes, should always contain a module, a class, a few hours on the topic of noise and how to avoid it. I think this is really, really important, and in particular going forward as the penetration of heat pumps will increase, and therefore they will get closer and closer to people's homes.
Okay, great. I think that's probably all we've got time for at the moment. Is there anything else you'd like to add on noise, Lukas?
No.
No, not for now. Great. Well, thanks for tuning in to this podcast. If you want to find out more information, you can contact Lukas or check out our website, www.delta-ee.com. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you.